grimy and muddy, that's just what I like. I be sipping on mud. Bitch, I come from the mud.
What's good, everybody, man? You already know who it is. It's your boy Big 36, Project Slumdog, King of the Slum Business, man. I'm back with part 2 of this Swamp Story Surviving Diddy reaction, man. We're gonna get right back into it where we left off because it was getting good, you feel me? And I think we left off at the Craig Mack part, but I just want, you know what I'm saying, just say, like, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, do what you gotta do. If you're on Facebook and you see this, man, like the video, share the video. Yeah, but let's get right back into it where we was at, y'all.
Should an artist have to fear for his life because his own boss wants to harm him? Well, Craig says that Puff tried to set him up at the studio, but when he showed up with certified goons, he decided to back off. So thankfully the situation didn't end terribly, but it was the start of a new era for Puffy. Not only had he become a control freak, but now he was bringing the threat of violence to the table. Slowly, the golden child of the industry was becoming the villain behind closed doors. And now we enter Diddy's violent era. While the Craig Mack drama was taking place internally, a whole nother beef was stewing in the industry. By the fall of 1994, Bad Boy had competition for rap's biggest label, and this would be California's Death Row Records. Particularly, Tupac had become the biggest star in rap and everyone wanted a feature. In this case, Uptown Records producer Ron G wanted Tupac to record a verse for Biggie Smalls. So Pac asked for $7,000 and Bad Boy agreed to pay for the verse. So Pac records the verse with Ron G and then is told to go to the Quad Studios in Manhattan to pick up the money. And that takes us to November 30th, 1994. Pac arrives in Manhattan and walks to the Quad Studios. As he's
Don't y'all wish we could get that or I wonder, did we already, like, do we have like a Biggie and Tupac song like when they did that? Because if not, I don't know. Let me see. Oh, they do got a song together. When did this shit come out? Did Tupac and Biggie ever do a song together? There is only one release track for them rapping together. It's called Running. Okay, so yeah, they did on Dying to Live. The song was part of the Tupac Resurrection. Okay. They really only did two. The original version was Running. And it was like, okay. So yeah, they did do a song together. That's crazy. That's crazy. I ain't know that. I gotta listen to that when I get off of this, man. If y'all knew that, man, y'all tell me in the comments if y'all knew that, man.
entering the building, he hears some Bad Boy associates yelling his name from the upstairs window. Pac is excited to meet with Bad Boy and he walks in the lobby to take the elevator upstairs. But as he approaches the elevators, two men in masks are waiting for him right there. Before he can run, the men whip out and reach for his pockets. Pac tries to fight them off, but that's when the men make a wild decision. While being carried out of the lobby, Pac flips off Notorious Big and other Bad Boy associates, assuming that they set him up. Thankfully though, Tupac would survive his injuries after a successful surgery. Speaking of injuries, if you were a loved one,
no, they didn't use the Tupac for the movie.
whip out and reach for his
Yeah, they used the Tupac dude for the movie. when he was in the hospital.
Pockets. Pac tries to fight them off, but that's when the men make a wild decision. While being carried out of the lobby, Pac flips off Notorious Big and other Bad Boy associates, assuming that they set him up. Thankfully though, Tupac would
And low-key, it do look like Tupac a little bit, low-key, just a little bit.
survive his injuries after a successful surgery. Speaking of injuries, if you or a loved one are ever injured, you deserve the absolute best on your
Alright, nah, we out there. We ain't doing that.
He had his hands tied with a legal case involving a woman. In fact, the day after his surgery, he appeared in court where he was sentenced to 8 months in Rikers Island. While incarcerated, the national story was that Bad Boy set him up to be robbed. On top of this, Pac did an interview while incarcerated where he said that Bad Boy did it overtly. He claimed that when he was on the way to the studios, Puff kept calling him to see where he was. He wanted to know when exactly he would get in, and that was Pac's main reasoning for thinking they set him up. Because of this, Puff was under major scrutiny, and he needed to clear it up.
So I started saying what's up to him, I'm about to get on the elevator, and he comes out shot.
The Tupac article had me pissed off, you know what I'm saying? Because first of all, he dissed my man, said my man turned his back on him, and I know for a fact that didn't happen, you know what I'm saying? And like the rumors that's spreading is on some tip like we set him up, you know what I'm saying? And that's crazy,
If there's any psychologists watching, please let me know why Puff's eyes are having a dance battle.
And why Biggie sound like he was so for sure? Like, I know for a fact.
Anyways, Puff was not done clearing the air. In fact, he visited Tupac at Rikers Island to assure him that Bad Boy had nothing to do with it. But was this really the case? Because Puff's bodyguard claims that he let this happen to Pac.
The people who knew what was going to happen to Pac was in the studio, was in the part of the quad studio with Jimmy Hitchman, and that was Andre Harrell and Puffy. So Puff knew, Andre Harrell knew.
If Gene Deal's perspective hasn't convinced you, then maybe what happens next will. In February of 1995, Biggie released a hit song called Who Shot Ya, which many people think is a Tupac diss. And one of these people was Pac himself, who felt betrayed and lied to by Puff. You told me one thing to my face, but your actions proved otherwise. To an alpha male like Pac, that was the ultimate disrespect. Well, after the record, all peace was off the table and Death Row cut ties with Bad Boy. That takes us to August 3rd, 1995. It's the annual Source Awards in New York City, and Death Row were nominated for Soundtrack of the Year. Of course, tensions are in the air because the show is in New York, and everyone is curious if anything will happen. Well, Death Row wins the award, and Suge takes the stage.
First of all, I'd like to thank God. Second of all, I'd like to thank my whole entire Death Row family on both sides, you know what I'm saying? I'd like to tell Tupac to keep his guards up. We ride with him. And one other thing I'd like to say, any artist out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star, don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the video, all on the record, dancing. Come to Death Row.
This was obviously a sneak diss at Puff, and the crowd was not feeling it. To make matters worse, Snoop Dogg takes the stage and doubles down.
The East Coast don't love Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. The East Coast ain't got no love for Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Death Row. Y'all don't love us. Y'all don't love us. Well, let it be known then. We know y'all East Coast. We know we at East Coast and Alpha.
This moment here officially kicked off the Bad Boy.
Nah, they booed my dog. I ain't gonna lie, that's crazy. Like, New York literally just showed him they was not rocking with him. He tried to punk the whole city just now. They wasn't going. You feel me? They wasn't going.
Versus Death Row beef. This meant that Puff's gangster was now being put to the test for real. Being that they exist on opposite ends of the map, interactions would not be often, but being in the same industry, the sides were bound to cross paths. September 23rd, 1995. Here we are in beautiful, well, not at the time, but here we are in Atlanta, Georgia for Jermaine Dupri's birthday celebration at the Platinum House nightclub. Here, much of the rap industry will be in attendance by midnight. Early in the night though, it's just the Bad Boy crew and associates hanging in the club before it opens. This would of course be Puffy, his bodyguard Wolf, Too Short, Dallas Austin, and plenty more. So they're all chilling in the club and a couple of hours go by. And this is when they receive some unexpected visitors. At 10 p.m., the Death Row crew arrive at the Platinum House parking lot. First, a Death Row associate named Big Jake walks in the club to scope it out. He then looks around and sees Puff Daddy and Jermaine Dupri sitting at a table in the corner. He instantly walks back to the parking lot to tell Suge where they are. Then together, the massive duo walk into the club headed for Puffy. They walk straight.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. If I'm in the club and I see two big niggas like that walking up on me and I ain't got no strap, I'm out of there. Pew! Track star, bitch. Fuck you talking about, nigga? I'm not sticking around letting them big niggas put their hands on me. You crazy, you feel me? I better have a strap on me or some niggas with me. You feel me? If I ain't got neither one, then I'm out.
Up to the table, and that's when Suge Knight slaps Jermaine Dupri directly.
Look at this little nigga. Look. This nigga chest is two of the Jermaine Dupri's. His chest. Is you crazy? He slapped. I know he slapped the shit out of him.
This is simply to get to Puffy, who's standing right behind him. Suge then grabs Puff by his arm and brings him in. He begins yelling at Puff, but that's when Wolf gets in between them. He tells Suge it's not gonna go down like that. So it turns into a brawl and they're all escorted out of the club. After all this, Suge and Puff actually...
Suge was gonna beat the brakes off goddamn Diddy. I bet you Diddy was scared for his motherfucking life.
Hug it out and squash the beef. But then out of nowhere, shots go off across the street. So they all duck down and look over to see what's going on. All it is a man across the street shooting his gun into the air. But while everyone is distracted, a man walks right behind Big Jake.
We own the club, the Platinum House. I had been at Jermaine Dupri's party.
That's crazy. They made sure that they got Suge partner. No.
Party, and I seen Jake, and he was looking for Puff, and they was looking for Jermaine and them there, and I didn't see them at their own party. Jermaine Dupri, his security, Puff with Wolf. And Jake looks in and see these guys. Suge came back, boom, 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 boom. He came right in and slapped the shit out of Jermaine Dupri. Bah! And Puff was standing right there, and he snatched Puff with one hand. Suge had him with one hand and was shaking him. Then Wolf reached over and grabbed him. Shit ain't going down like this no more. Standing there, Suge's in front of with Puff. They walk into the limo. All of a sudden, somebody started shooting across the street. And I could see this dude just busting. Pop, 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 pop. They were called the play for the overlay. They started shooting across the street to make everybody look. We looked. The dude came out of nowhere and just touched Jake. And Jake was about 400 pounds.
Big Jake was Suge's best friend and Death Row security wherever they went. So this loss was devastating to Death Row.
So that just mean that the beef between Diddy and Suge, that shit is, bro, that shit, like, before Biggie and Pac, niggas been dying over this. So it ain't even really a East Coast, it was never really an East Coast, West Coast beef. It was really just Suge and Diddy beefing, executive beef that had the artists beefing. And then shit just got real. Oh, that's crazy.
But they had no idea who did it. But then a few days later, 3 witnesses reported that Puff's bodyguard Wolf was the assailant. Whoa, did Puff's bodyguard take out Suge Knight's best friend? Well, about a week later, Wolf was arrested for the incident. So, does this mean that Puff ordered the hit of Suge Knight's best friend? Death Row definitely assumes so, but Wolf was able to beat his case about a year later.
I don't think Diddy ordered no hit on the dude. I think just in the midst of you know what's going on. The dude Wolf probably got his ass beat by the nigga. And you know, when everybody stopped, felt like he got time to get his gun and pop him. You feel me? Like it just happened at the moment. I don't know. You feel me? Just my thoughts, my opinions. But I don't think Diddy had put no hit on in that situation because from how it was explained, nah.
In the meantime, though, the beef was up. With Tupac shot and now Big J killed, Death Row was looking at Puffy like an absolute.
I ain't gonna lie, Bad Boy looking like real bad boys right now. Yo, they not looking like, you know, they two up. They won up, but you know they done got they two up technically.
Absolute menace. And coincidentally, not too long after the loss of Big Jake, Tupac was released from Rikers Island. As soon as he got back to LA, he hopped in the studio and recorded Hit 'Em Up. One, if not the most disrespectful song in rap history. He dissed Biggie by saying that he smashed his girl and pretty much obliterated the whole Bad Boy camp. As you would expect, Puffy was pissed. But at this time, he felt invincible, so he decided to do the unthinkable. He decided to schedule a Bad Boy tour on the West Coast from Seattle down to San Diego. However, he knew that the tour was a risk, so he decided to tap.
Yo, Diddy is a demon. Yeah, I really don't think Diddy is not the one to fuck with for real. Low key. That's crazy.
Been with his best connection in LA. This would be a man named Keefy D, who he met at a hydraulic shop in Compton. Essentially, in 1994, Puff asked Keefy if he could borrow one of his cars for a video, and they locked in from there.
He had called up our hydraulic place and asked to use a lowrider.
But Keefy wasn't just a car guy, he was also a high-ranking member of Compton's Southside Crips. So naturally, when Puff announced his tour, he hired Keefy and the Southside Crips to protect him.
He had a West Coast tour coming up. But Zipper came pick me up. We rolling up Greenleaf in our neighborhood, and his phone ring, boom, and it was Puff. And he like, you think it's cool to come out here and do concerts? I'm like, why it wouldn't be cool? Just let me know the dates and give me some tickets. We had the Crips there, but I see he was trying to play us against each other. Crips, Bloods, you know what I'm saying? Sugar Blood, we the Crips.
So behind the scenes, Puff was potentially creating a beef between Compton Crips and LA Bloods.
I guess he played it smarter. Dude with the red, I get the blue.
Well, thankfully, nothing happened.
Yo, Diddy's such a demon. Don't he live in like Los Angeles or somewhere? Like he lives somewhere in California. Like he live on the West Coast. He's such a demon, bro. This nigga is, I don't know. Y'all talking about King Von. We might need to be talking about Sean P. Diddy Combs.
Happened and the tour went smoothly. But later that year, they would run into each other at the Soul Train Awards and they would have a standoff backstage. Allegedly, Tupac and Suge pulled up on Puffy.
You hear the door go boom, and then you see Tupac with Suge and about 1,000 Bloods and Crips walking down the middle of the auditorium, just screaming because Big them had just went off. So just imagine Tupac coming, walking down the aisle, walking up the steps, and just walking into the back. It wouldn't have been too good if they got hold to him, because they couldn't have handled what they had with them at that time. Like, nah, they were totally outnumbered.
Puff felt embarrassed and disrespected, and something needed to be done. So allegedly that next night, he took Keefy D out to dinner on the Sunset Strip. And there, according to Keefy, Puff offered him $1 million to get rid of Pac.
He and Puffy are at this place called Greenblatt's Deli on Sunset. And he tells Keefy D, man, I just need you to take care of this situation with Suge and Tupac.
Keefy, he's claiming that Puffy offered him $1 million to kill Suge or Tupac?
Both of them. Yeah, both their names came out.
$1 million in 1995 is equivalent to over $2 million today. And to a Compton Crip who's probably broke, this is life-changing money. If this is actually true, then Puff is a cold man. Because there's no way in the world that any gang member would ever turn this down. And Puffy knew this. It was only a matter of time. September 7th, 1996. It's a big day in Las Vegas as Mike Tyson is set to fight at the MGM Grand. Of course, for the big fight, all of the celebrities are in town, including Tupac. Well, it's the afternoon and everyone is having fun before the event. Particularly, Tupac and Suge Knight are walking through the casino lobby. That's when they're approached by a man who's being disrespectful. This would be a young man named Orlando Anderson, the first cousin of Keefe D and fellow Southside Crip. Well, the story goes that he disrespects Pac and Pac socks him in front of everyone. Orlando is furious, so he goes and gives a statement to police.
Tupac punched me.
Then he meets up with Keefe D and tells him about what happened at the casino. So Keefe and Orlando sit in the hotel room thinking about what they can do. Then they get a call from a very important factor. This would be a New York plug and associate of Puffy by the name of Eric Von Zip. Zip allegedly calls them and says to meet in his rental car. Keefe and Orlando hop in and he hands them a Glock 40. They then hop out and Zip takes off. Keefe and Orlando then hop in their own car. 11 p.m. The Tyson fight empties out and Tupac hops in Suge's BMW 7 Series. Suge then pulls off and stops at a red light on Las Vegas Boulevard. Coincidentally, Orlando and Zip takes off. Keefe and Orlando then hop in their own car. 11 p.m. The Tyson fight empties out and Tupac hops in Suge's
This is one thing I never understood about this picture. Like, why is no keys in the ignition of this car right here? Let me. Like, every time I see this picture, like, I say the same thing over and over again. Like, it's no keys in the ignition of this car. Like, it's no keys. I don't know. If y'all know, leave in the comments. Let me know why that's like that. You feel me? Because I don't know. I have no clue, y'all. And I've been wondering that for years.
BMW 7 Series. Suge then pulls off and stops at a red light on Las Vegas Boulevard. Coincidentally, Orlando and Keefe happen to be reaching the same.
I'm gonna skip ahead because we already know, Tupac died and shit.
He pitted us against each other, it seemed like.
But what do you guys think? Is Puff responsible for the loss of Tupac, or is Keefe D a grown man not taking responsibility for his actions? Well, if you ask Diddy, he'll...
Oh, but the dude Keefe D never actually even got paid neither. So I guess I got to take it back for y'all to see that.
million, but it was Tupac jumping Orlando Anderson that really caused the situation, right? Well, Keefe disagrees, as he thinks that Puff is to blame.
If I wouldn't have never met him, I wouldn't have never been involved in this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, man. So you feel like Puffy, he's the reason for your empire and Suge empire going down because of the whole situation with Tupac.
Exactly. He the only one still balling. Because he pitted us against each other, it seemed like.
But what do you guys think? Is Puff responsible for the loss of Tupac, or is Keefe...
If these grown-ass men was able to get manipulated like that, then Diddy is a motherfucking mastermind genius.
A grown man not taking responsibility for his actions? Well, if you ask Diddy, he'll tell you that he had nothing to do with it.
Now, it was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but it's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Regardless of what you believe, the truth is that Puff was becoming the boogeyman of the rap game. With Big Jake and now Pac gone, Puff felt like nobody could mess with him. His violent ways were just starting, and that takes us to the next chapter of the story. After the passing of Tupac, Puff went about his life like nothing had happened. But for whatever reason, his bad boy artists were not so secure in their ways. In fact, they were very cautious of their whereabouts and made sure to avoid California at all costs. Eventually though, they would have to go back to Cali. And that takes us to the Soul Train Awards of 1997. The awards are held in Los Angeles, and because of this, the bad boy artists do not want to go. In particular, Mace thinks it's too risky, and Biggie decides to not go at all. He happens to have a broken femur, and he tells Puff that he's in too much pain to fly back and forth. He also mentions that going to LA is not the best idea, which is really the real reason. But Puff tells him that he'll be safe and nothing will happen. And according to the bad boy president Kirk Burroughs, he kept convincing him relentlessly.
We could not go, but Biggie did have an inconvenience. He had a car accident. I think it was in Brooklyn, maybe downtown Brooklyn. He had a broken femur at that time, and he was recovering from that. Big-sized person, could not really sit comfortably in a plane, not even first class, with a cast on. It was uncomfortable. He was talked into going to the LA portion of the trip.
Strangely though, Puff doesn't care if Biggie goes to the award show, he really just wants him at the after party.
Yo, that whole week, man, Puff was like, yo, man, yo, Big, you gotta come to this party, you know, and he wasn't getting the response that he needed from Big to make sure that he was going to the party.
Finally, Biggie caves into Puff and decides to come to—
I ain't gonna lie, yeah, that is fucked up a little bit. You know, Biggie is a big dude, and he got a broken femur, and he got to be walking and toting that leg around. Like, Diddy ain't give a fuck, bruh. That should just make me think about when he made them dudes on Making the Band go walk to get him some cheesecake. I mean, if you old enough, you know what I'm talking about. But if you know, that's crazy.
LA. But what Puffy doesn't know is that directly after the award show, Biggie will be flying to London. This is because Clive Davis booked him for a major media appearance where he'll be introduced to a worldwide audience. March 7th, 1997. The award show takes place and everything goes smoothly. That's when Biggie tells Puff that he's headed for the airport to fly to London. As you would expect, Puffy is livid, and he calls Clive Davis right away. He tells him to cancel Biggie's appearance in London because he wants him at the party in LA.
But it was put together so that Biggie could receive an international press junket in London with all press from around the world meeting him that Saturday, Sunday after the Friday award show night. Diddy called late Friday night saying, he's not going to London. Call Arista, cancel it. You go. You represent it. You go. He's not going. He wants to stay here in LA. So we knew how big of an event that could be.
Strange, right? Wouldn't you want your artist to fulfill this amazing opportunity? Making him—
Right. The fact you ain't even care about that, but you want him to just be at this party so bad. Kind of suspicious.
Skip out on a worldwide appearance just so he could go to some silly party? It doesn't quite make sense. On top of this, earlier in the day, Mace warned him that some guys might be coming after them.
They was telling him that they wanted Big and Puff, and he was all right. He was good. Me and Mace spoke, and then he was telling me all them bloods and everything that was out there.
If this wasn't enough, Gene Deal informed him as well.
I said, Puff, I got some intel. The guys are coming to kill us tonight at the museum party.
Here was Puff's response.
He said, Gene, I don't want to hear that. He said, you ain't got to go if you don't want to go.
So Puff knew there was a threat and brushed it off.
This nigga Diddy is a demon. What type of time? It had to be drugs or something. Or power. Like, he really just felt like he was Superman.
Puff, Big, and most of Bad Boy are at Steve Stout's party in the Hollywood Hills. At 12:30 a.m., LAPD show up to shut down the party due to a noise complaint. Because of this, everyone at the party is forced to go their separate ways. For Biggie, he rolls out with his friends D-Rock, Lil Cease, and his driver G-Money. At 12:45, they stop at a red light on—
Why they use the Lil C's from the movie and not the real Lil C's? He is still alive. Like, what the fuck?
Fairfax and Wilshire, and that's when a Chevy Impala pulls right beside them. Bang! The incident shocked the world again, and everyone assumed that this was revenge for Tupac. Now, of course, this may be true, but something that happened directly after is very strange. Puff took a flight to San Diego just 2 hours after Biggie's passing.
Puff went to San Diego and they put him on a jet about 2 hours after Big died.
See, I don't know everything about the world, but what I do know is that when your best friend dies, you don't leave them. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and all I can think of is, was Puff involved in the passing of Biggie? Well, his bodyguard Gene Deal seems to think so.
You gotta look at what people do, man. You know Pac just got killed. It ain't no kind of business Big was doing. Big couldn't even walk, he couldn't run. Puff ain't want none of that beef. So what I'ma do is, y'all want the sheep? I'ma put him out the pasture. Catch him if you can. If you the wolf, if you got that wolf in you, catch him if you can. Why in the hell you would put your man in a situation? There's plenty of places Big could have been. Why the West Coast?
Did Puff sacrifice Biggie in order to stop the beef on the West Coast? You guys tell me. There's no way that Puff would do this to his closest friend and main artist, right? I mean, after his passing,
That's crazy. He said that. I was just thinking the same thing. You got one of mine, I need one of yours.
even released songs to commemorate him, not to mention that he spoke highly of him in interviews as well.
And as far as my theory, it would be inadequate for me to speculate. I would just be like everybody else to speculate on who did this or why it was done. I mean, one thing I do know is that it was evil, it was ignorant, and it hurts, you know what I'm saying?
What has it been like emotionally for you? I mean, it's a tragedy. Seeing a close friend like that gunned down. What have you been going through?
Honestly, you know, it's been hard. I mean, that's the only way I could describe it, you know, when it wasn't supposed to be like this.
Let's talk about that. Tupac Shakur's death about 6 months ago kind of showed how vulnerable rap artists are.
Yes.
Did Biggie at all feel that his life was in danger?
He never told me, I can only speak, he never told me he felt that his life was in danger. We always, me and him, we always had conversations, and I'm very close with God, and through our relationship, I was trying to show him how God is his friend, and he was taking in God as his friend, you know, and it was a gradual thing.
After seeing this interview, are you guys convinced that Puff had nothing to do with it?
Nah, that sound like he did that shit. I ain't gonna lie. That little interview sound like he guilty.
Who knows, but wow is all I have to say. But I'm not the only one who feels uneasy. In fact, Bad Boy's second biggest artist felt sick to his stomach. In the height of his rap career, Mace decided to leave Bad Boy and to become a pastor. His relationship with Puff had fallen apart, and they've been arguing over money ever since. So with Biggie and Mace gone, Bad Boy was falling apart at the helm. But leave it up to the genius of Diddy, he would quickly replace their talent. In 1998, Puffy would discover an East Flatbush rapper by the name of Shine Poe. Shine was brought to him by DJ Clark Kent, and he was...
I'm gonna end it off on that one, man. I'm gonna do this will be part 3, man, but I'm gonna do part 3 tomorrow or something. But whenever y'all get this, y'all gonna get all of them, man. Thank y'all for watching this video, man. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification for all my post notifications, man. You already know who it is, man. It's your boy, Big 36, Project Slumlord, King of the Slum Business, man. Thank y'all. Don't forget to subscribe. Love.
On a flight, slimy and muddy, that's just what I like. I be sipping on mud. Bitch, I